Welcome to Orchestrate All the Things. I'm George Anatiotis and we'll be connecting the dots together. Stories about technology, data, AI, and media and how they flow into each other, shaping our lives. This is an AI-generated narrative of my latest article.
Useful Sensors launches AI in a box, aiming to establish a different paradigm for edge computing and tiny ML. Would you leave a Google staff research engineer role just because you want your TV to automatically pause when you get up to get a cup of tea? Actually, how is that even relevant, you might ask? Let's see what Pete Warden, former Google staff research engineer and now CEO and founder of Useful Sensors, has to say about that. Warden's startup, Jetpack, was acquired by Google in 2014, and he has been a Google staff research engineer from then till March 2022. That's when he founded Useful Sensors, which he sees as the evolution of the work he's been doing at Google. Warden was the technical lead of the TensorFlow mobile team, responsible for deep learning on mobile and embedded devices. Useful Sensors just launched a product called AI in a Box, which it dubs an offline, private, open-source LLM for conversations and more. Simplicity and the creepiness factor. When Warden went to talk to companies to tell them all about this wonderful open-source code that they could get for free, they would hear him out. But then in the end, they'd usually say something like, "That's great. But we barely have a software engineering team, let alone a machine learning team. So can you just give us something that gives us a voice interface or tells us when somebody sits down in front of the TV?" In a video hosted on the Useful Sensors homepage, Warden mentions how during his tenure at Google he would often get questions about whether Google is spying on people. Warden on his part swears that the code he was working on does not do that. But, he goes on to add, he has no way of proving that because the code is proprietary. Plus, we may add, there's nothing anyone can say about other parts of Google's codebase, or other apps for that matter. That brings us to the core of it all, what Useful Sensors does and how it's different. The vision, as Warden put it, is to be able to run machine learning locally, and to do it in a private and a checkable way. Everything should run locally with no internet connection, so conversations and data are completely secure. No account, setup, or subscription needed. As Warden shared, Useful Sensors is currently in talks with a number of electronics vendors. In fact, that is the audience that holds the greatest promise for Useful Sensors. Its backers also see the potential apparently, as the company has received $5 million in seed funding already. Warden co-founded Useful Sensors with CTO Manjunath Kudler, formerly of Cerebras. The team lists a total of 8 people at this point, but if their plans come to fruition, another funding round and growth are well within sight as per Warden. AI in a Box, the product that Useful Sensors just launched, seems like it was designed to do a number of things. First, it can grow awareness for Useful Sensors, as it's aimed at makers. AI in a Box can also help raise some cash for Useful Sensors. But perhaps more importantly, it positions Useful Sensors as an ecosystem provider. AI in a Box features a Rockchip 3588S Society with the NPU. The NPU is a unit specifically designed to accelerate neural networks, and the team was able to leverage it to enable a large language model to run locally. AI in a Box is built on a foundation of open-source models like Whisper and Llama 2. In the same vein, the company is releasing all the code to accelerate and control the system under an open-source license. Real-time speech-to-text enables AI in a box to function as a keyboard too, among other things. By having a LLM in the mix too, that opens up a range of possibilities. For example, LLMs are known to be able to interface with APIs. Warden mentioned Raspberry Pi as an example that could enable people to control a number of devices using voice commands. People can try these models for themselves, and see, for example, how useful, but also how flawed the current generation of LLMs are. I don't want us technocrats to be the ones making these decisions. I want a well-informed public who are actually able to say, "Hey, this is what we want," Warden said. That certainly sounds like a noble aspiration. How compatible it really is with VC backing, a cutthroat competitive landscape dominated by the Googles of the world, the public's ability to elaborate its own take on things, and administration's willingness to take the public into account, remains to be seen.
Thanks for sticking around. For more stories like this, check the link in bio and follow Link Data Orchestration.